What's going on, everybody? David here, back with another video. So we're going to do a stimulus package, stimulus check update. We're going to do a quick update when it comes to the next round of stimulus checks. We have the third round coming this week. And then we're also going to take a look at the child tax credit. So we're going to go to the digital whiteboard. I'm going to show you exactly what's going on with the child tax credit and when to expect that. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please hit the like button. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. Also, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the next round of stimulus checks. So we know we had a pretty rough week last week as far as how things were getting rolled out. We saw that the Social Security Administration was not providing the IRS with information so the IRS could move forward with the stimulus checks. And I mean, these are new revelations that we didn't know anything about. We were just thinking the IRS was there just not doing their job. But we find out that the Social Security Administration wasn't passing along that information. And then the IRS was not transparent with the American people and letting them know, look, this is the situation. This is why we can't move forward. So ultimately, the American people are the people who are suffering because of this stuff that's going on or not going on. So at this point, it looks like this week we will have some people on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, veterans beneficiaries, railroad retirement. It looks like more of those people will start receiving their stimulus checks via direct deposit on their Direct Express or NetSpend. Also, we should see some people receiving checks as well. So that's where we are right now. Look at the date of the 31st. That is the target date for direct deposit. So some people will receive their direct deposits then. And then after that, now we're going to be looking at people who do not have a bank account, people who do not have an address to mail things out. They're really going to have to figure out how they're going to get that money to those people. But we have about 30 million people left, and that should be our target all next week. All next week, they should be targeting those people. So I know it's been a really rocky road. So hopefully this week we'll have some better news for a lot of those people that are out there waiting for stimulus checks. All right, now I want to talk a little bit about this child tax credit. And so we'll go over to our little digital chalkboard, or digital whiteboard, I'll start calling it. So I've had people ask me about the child tax credit. What is it all about? When will it start? And so we're going to talk a little bit about it. And we're going to start off first by talking about the tax credit right now, the tax credit that we have in play right now. So the tax credit that we have right now is $2,000 for each child 16 years or younger. Okay, so that's what we're looking at right now. That was passed by President Trump, and so that's what we have. Now we have a new tax credit, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that. But this old tax credit doesn't go away; it's still here. Okay, so for single people, the phase out is between $200,000 and $240,000. Okay, for joint filers, the phase out is between $400,000 and $440,000. So that is the old child tax credit. Now this is interesting because you heard the talk when it came to stimulus checks, and you had some politicians come out and say we shouldn't be giving people who make $300,000 a stimulus check and this and this and that. This is a credit, just like the stimulus check was a credit that was advanced to you. It's the same thing, okay? And so it's really interesting when you see different sides, because most of the politicians who were against giving, they wanted a more targeted stimulus package, more targeted stimulus checks. A lot of those people voted for this tax credit that was signed off by President Trump. But a couple years later, now they're looking at the stimulus checks and they're saying, no, we want it more targeted. So I do find that pretty interesting, because this can go all the way up, if you're looking here, $440,000. So just wanted to point that out. Now let's move forward here. Now, like I said, this tax credit, this is still in play. Okay, and I'll show you why in a minute here. So now we have the new tax credit. Now this new tax credit was in the latest stimulus package. And what we need to understand about this tax credit is this goes up. It goes up to $3,000. Okay, $3,000 for children between 16 years and 17 years. Okay, so that's what we're looking at there. And then for children 5 years or younger, it goes up to $3,600. And what President Biden wants to do with this is he wants to make it more of a reoccurring payment. So he wants to do For the $3,000, he wants to do $250 per child per month. And then for the $3,600, he wants to do $300 per child per month. So that is his focus. That's what he wants to do with this child tax credit. Now, there's the paid monthly. Now, this date here, we're not sure about July 1st. That was the date that they kind of threw out initially, but we don't know exactly when this is going to take place. It should be around that time. That is the push, but we're not exactly sure what the date is when it comes to the child tax credit being implemented. And the way that they want to work it is if it is July 1st, it will go the next 6 months. Okay, so it'll go that 6 months, it'll end out the year, and then they'll figure out what they're going to do from there, if they're going to extend it. So that's how we're playing it right now. That's the way it looks right now. Now, more things to note. The filers, single filers, $75,000 or less, you will get the full amount as far as tax credits. And now there's no limit. So if you have 10 children, then you're going to receive this money for all of your children as long as they're 17 or younger. So people making $75,000 or less, and like I said, remember that $75,000 or less over here, and then over here it's between $200,000 and $240,000. Pretty interesting, right? You see how things change just depending on the administration and how they want to go about doing it. Because there was a real big problem that they had in this last stimulus package with giving people more money that made in the 200s, 300,000s. There was a real big problem with that, but there wasn't a problem back with the older child tax credit. So nonetheless, single filers, 75,000 or less, and joint filers, 150,000 or less. Now, that's the adjusted gross income. Okay. And so if you do a 1040, then look at line 11. Line 11 will give you that information so you can see what is my AGI. That's what your AGI is. All right. Phase out. Now, this is important. So if you make over 75,000, there's a phase out period. So with the phase out period, the way it works is for every $1,000 you go over this 75,000, then you have to deduct $50 basically until you run out of that. So if it's $3,600, you could see you can still make a lot of money over that 75,000 because it will phase out by $50 increments. All right. And this will be based on your latest tax filing. And so for most people, it's going to be their 2020 taxes. So when you do your 2020 taxes, because this is not going to take place until around July. So most people will file their taxes by May 17th. Unless you do an extension. If you do an extension, well, that'll be a different situation. And then they'll go off your 2019 taxes. But that is the child tax credit. That's what we're looking at right now. And I think this is going to be good for a lot of people. I think the fact that people will be getting reoccurring payments, I think is a good thing as well, because you're going to get that $250 a month. And if you have 2 children that meet the criteria, then you're getting $500 a month. So, I mean, it will change things, and it will help. And their talk is that it's going to help get some of these children out of poverty. And so I think it's good. I think it's definitely something that most people are on board for. And you saw Republicans supported the child tax credit in the Trump administration for $2,000. Now we have a new child tax credit, and they've increased it. Now, what if you don't meet this criteria at all for the new tax credit? What if you phase out, like you make way too much money, and so you're not going to get this addition of the child tax credit? Well, as long as you still meet that criteria, and for single filers, it was what, 240,000. That's the phase out for a single individual with children. Well, you'll still get the 2,000. So you're not going to lose that. That will still be there. So I want to make sure that you guys understand that, just in case if you're in that situation where you're like, well, I make too much money, I'm not even going to benefit from this child tax credit. So does that mean I lose everything? No, you will still get the 2,000. You just won't qualify for the additional funding. So I hope that answers a lot of questions. If you guys do have more questions in the comment section, let me know down below. hopefully this week coming up will be a great week for a lot of people who've been waiting for these stimulus checks. And guys, please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I'll have the information below. We do a giveaway every week, give away $50. It's going to be a Cash App giveaway. So make sure you check that out and tune in here, because I'll be letting you know in a couple of days when we're going to be doing the next giveaway. All right, that's all I have for you guys. Like the video, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.